How Did He Give Me HIV Part 16. So now here it is. It's Mother's Day 2008. He's in prison. This woman finds out that the guy that she had a sexual relationship with was in jail. She finds out that he's HIV positive. And she had to tell her then boyfriend. It's Mother's Day. She's leaving to go to work that morning. Now, this is the story that I'm getting. This story can be Googled. There are many people who can account for this story, okay? So the way the story goes is that she was leaving that morning to leave to go to work, and she's backing her car out of the garage. And as she's backing her car out of the garage, the boyfriend who she had blown off, she would not communicate with him, not talk to him. He is upset. He is just wanting answers. He's wanting to know what in the world is going on. Like, she's shutting everybody out. And he's pretty much lost it. And so he's waiting on the side of her garage for her to back out. And as she backs out is when he steps forward from the side. And that is when he aims for her through the front windshield of her car. And that is when she is ultimately and unfortunately unalived in that moment. And he did not run. He turned himself in. He willingly turned himself in. And he pretty much was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Now, through that whole situation, because I didn't know until the next day what happened. I got a phone call from my friend, and she's like, "Girl, remember the lady I told you about that passed out in the break room? She's gone. And it's because of Greg." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Go look online." So I'm at the computer. I'm searching. I'm like, okay. And all I could say was, oh my God. Oh my God. This man has ruined so many lives. He's ruined so many lives. So many lives. And I'm just like, oh my God. So, at this point, I really stayed away from a lot of the things that were being said online. At this point, we were still in that MySpace era. Facebook was still kind of branching out and being its own thing. We were, TikTok wasn't a thing. Not TikTok. Twitter wasn't a thing. And so it was not a lot of things to do on social media. We had message boards. I'm 40. I'm a little anxious. So we had message boards. So I'm looking at message boards. I'm looking at comments under articles, and I'm seeing people saying things. And then I saw a comment on one of them that I knew from the comment it had to be someone who personally knew him, my ex-husband, and was just like in their feelings or whatever. And I said what I had to say. We had some back and forth exchange of words. And then I got a message from someone who saw me commenting on that board. And it was the man who unalived this woman's lawyer. And the lawyer contacted me because I guess whatever between him and his client was discussed, the situation was he basically did what he did because of him trying to get an understanding and figure out what was going on between this woman and my ex-husband, because it was widely known that he and her had a sexual relationship. And so only thing I could tell the lawyer was, all I know is that, yes, this is someone that he was in a sexual relationship with. That's all I knew. And that was what I gave. And like I say, he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. And I believe, honestly, that he was given 40 years and not just given like a life sentence, because his actions were done out of pure, it was done I feel like it was done like somebody who just lost it in a sense of confusion, if that makes sense. I hope y'all are following me and can understand how I'm trying to, like, you know, this is somebody who is trying to find out what is going on. Is this, have I now gotten HIV from this woman? Has she gotten HIV from this man? This is someone who is world is about to be turned upside down, and he's just trying to get answers. Was his actions wrong? Absolutely. However, the manner in which led up to him having those actions, oh my gosh. Like I said, this man has ruined people's lives, okay? This man has done a lot. Now, another thing that I did after, you know, in the midst of a lot of this going on, was I actually had a conversation with his mom. And his mom told me, that is when she told me she knew. Because again, this whole time I'm thinking this woman didn't know anything. I'm thinking that I'm telling her something for the first time, or she's finding out all of this for the first time. I'm finding out that his mom knew he was HIV positive the whole time. Okay? And so I asked her, I said, well, why didn't you tell me? This is what she said. This is why I am very angry with her, but this is also why I say I don't fault her. Okay? It's okay for me to be angry at her, but I don't fault her. Because again, not her obligation. But she said that he told her that I knew. So she was under the impression that I knew. So what I told her is, I said, listen, at this point, I think we can all agree that your son is a freaking liar. So if your son is telling you that I knew, you should have come to me and started the conversation. Well, Gregory said that you knew he was HIV positive. How do you feel about that? Then you would have known I didn't know. That is the moment when you would have known I didn't know. Okay? She knew. Her husband knew. Now, if you go back and remember way back into the beginning, I told you the connection with her husband was her husband is my mother's first cousin. That is how she became that friend of the family that everybody knew about. Okay? He knew. So now I'm pissed off at him because, listen, bump all this other mess. Bump them and whatever they got going on. You are my blood. My grandmother and your dad are sister and brother. That is close enough in a bloodline for me to feel like I deserve something more than what I was given from him, being my cousin. Okay? He knew. But again, everybody was told that Renee knew. Renee knew. You know, people are under the impression I knew. Until I'm telling them I didn't know nothing. Okay? So at that moment, I was done having that conversation with his mom. I left that conversation alone. Now, more stuff happens. I'm just like, well, what else can happen? What else can happen? Okay? So now we're going to go into what happens when he's released from prison in March of 2012.